Alright, so this video is on naming aromatics, which is benzene. Okay, so benzene has the formula C6H6, okay? C6H6 is the benzene formula. Benzene is famous for their sweet smell, okay? They're carcinogenic, and also it's an important industrial solvent, okay? And it's also used as a precursor in the production of drugs and other synthetic organic compounds, okay, like plastics and stuff. So to name aromatics or benzene, we use the same rules as previous hydrocarbons, all right? You just have to remember that if benzene is used as a parent chain, we just name it as benzene. Or if it's used as a branch, then we change the name from benzene to phenol, all right? So have a look into this structure here. You see it's a benzene with 6 carbons, and we counted the number of carbons from here going to the right and then coming back here. So you see that there's 2 ethyl branches on the benzene, okay? So you see C2H5, that's an ethyl, and this one is also an ethyl. So a lot of times when you see this structure, you will see this name here, okay? Orthodiethylbenzene. That's a classic name, all right? That's not the IUPAC name. If we write the IUPAC name, then we have to name it 1,2-diethylbenzene, all right? Diethylbenzene. So now this one is the IUPAC name, all right? But when the 2 ethyl groups are not on the carbon 1 and carbon 2, but instead they're on carbon 1 and carbon 3, so they're skipping 1 carbon, okay? So in this case, it's going to be, classically it will be named as meta-diethylbenzene, okay? And just like that, if it skips 2 carbon, then it will be para-diethylbenzene, right? So a lot of times your textbooks might not show the IUPAC name, but the classic name, all right? So again, this is orthodiethylbenzene, meta-diethylbenzene, para-diethylbenzene. You just have to remember the structures, all right? So ortho is carbon 1, carbon 2 branches. Meta is kind of, they're skipping a carbon in the middle, all right? And then para is there on the opposite sides of the benzene, okay? So let's look into a few examples here, okay? So here we have a benzene structure with a bromine. So to name this compound, we use the exact same rules as before, okay? So this name for this benzene, it's just going to be bromobenzene. Bromobenzene, okay? We don't have to number it because if there's nothing else on the benzene parent chain, there's only one bromine, then we can start counting our carbons from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then if it's a 1, we don't have to show it, all right? This is actually 1 bromobenzene, but because it's carbon 1, we don't have to show it, all right? Let's look into the structure here. I'm still getting used to using the digital pen, so don't mind my writing or drawing, all right? My writing is not this bad. Okay, so to name this one, now you see the branch is NO2. Now NO2, it's going to be nitrobenzene. Nitrobenzene. Okay, so again, we don't have to number them because there's nothing else. But if you happen to have this and this on the same benzene, then you have to use the priority list, whichever is has the highest priority will be named carbon 1. Okay. All right, so let's look into this example here. That's a benzene, and then you have 1, 2, 3. All right, so this one here is going to be propyl benzene. Okay, propyl benzene. More example. All right, so this one is a special compound because it has its common name. So a lot of times you have to memorize these kind of names. All right, so this one, if we were to use the rules, it would be methyl benzene, but it has its common name again, and it's called toluene. Okay, toluene. So it's not methyl benzene, but it's toluene. So unfortunately, when you see things like this, you have to really memorize the names. Okay. Okay, so let's look into an example where we can use the iso or the sec-butyl. All right. So let's see. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's a butyl, but it's not a straight butyl because the benzene is attached to carbon 2 on the butane. Okay, so what we are going to do is call it sec-butyl. Remember, sec-butyl. All right, so benzene, sorry, sec-butyl benzene. Okay, now if the benzene was attached to the first carbon, then it would just be butyl benzene. Okay. All right, so let's look into an example where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbons. Okay, and then there is a benzene. Okay, so when you have something like this, there's 5 carbons. Now when the alkane becomes 5 or more carbons, then benzene is going to be as a branch. Okay, so now for this one, we are going to name it 2-phenyl pentane. Okay, so here now, because the benzene is as a branch here, the name changed to phenyl instead of benzene. Okay, so we have it on carbon 2, right? If I number my carbons. Okay, so now let's look into cis and trans isomers. Okay, so if you recall, isomers are the two chemical compounds with same chemical formula but different structure. Okay, so now these two chemicals are isomers. Okay, so they have same chemical formula but different structure. Now in this case, we have it as cis or trans structure. Okay, so when you see that there's a double bond and the branches on the double bond are on opposite directions. Okay, so when they're opposite directions, they're trans. Okay, so this is trans. If we name this, it's going to be trans 1, sorry, 2, it's trans 2, 3, difluorobutane. Okay, and if we have to name this one because the branches, the identical branches, okay, the identical branches are on the same side of the compound, then this is going to be cis 2,3 difluorobutane. Okay. Alright, so that's the last thing I wanted to show you. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned how to name aromatic hydrocarbons, and stay safe and awesome until we meet again. Alright.